up and down, all over the place.
Being able to do that jump just effortlessly in the middle of the chaos, I mean, that's really cool.
I mean, I just think it's weird that he's seeming so free. You know, he's
just loving life.
Yeah, absolutely.
3-4 though. What a good recovery for Cloud9 here after having that strange beginning. They've just won 3 in a row. There's been no bomb plants either in any of those 3 rounds, so they're denying a bit of the economy. We'll see what OG could do now that they have some rifles picked up once again, and well, that's a good start. This attack actually going down right away.
After so many rounds where they've pressured this B bomb site, now setting into a more standardized default. Cloud9 do get caught out on the extremities. Alex, though, looking for the angle, the flash. Oh, it's perfect. Alexi can find the entry and take some space towards B. They actually began a rotation over towards A because S-Attack had fallen. So this is an open B bomb site for OG, and this time I don't think there's any surprises.
And they're not even going to go. They're just immediately going to call the save, in which case, Isa's position is suddenly very cool.
Yeah.
That is...
Make one step, and you are a goner here on the save.
Yes. I really enjoyed the fact that he called in that flashbang from a teammate over there at XCB. That was because the grenade landed, it did so much damage, but then he just said, yeah, fine. I'll get one teammate to help and you're done. It's pretty cool.
It is a little surprising that OG have put so much emphasis, I think, on this B bomb site. I think it's kind of one or the other. I've noticed of late where you just feel like you have to go so A heavy, especially if you're going for some early mid control. But I mean, we've seen that neither team has really been putting too much of a focus on mid. I think OG primarily have done it in rounds where they feel like they have the advantage anyway.
Yeah, I mean, and I know there are some teams that just really don't like taking mid on the CT side for this map, or even attempting it, right? So maybe Cloud9 haven't figured out any protocols they enjoy.
Like the best way to do it just yet with the players they have.
Yeah. I mean, it can really get, go out of control a little bit, can't it? I know in past teams, Valda really enjoys playing the connector and shooting over those smokes and playing around that in that connector towards the A bomb site. So I'm sure he'll be doing that. But if they don't have anyone on the Cloud9 side currently that sort of enjoy that to the similar level, it's hard to push people into it. And yeah, again, Woxic showing up a bit. He's got Alex over there with the AUG, but they're not really. They're not insisting on it, right? A couple of smokes here, and they'll have to sort of, forget about the mid control. So that's a bit of a luxury maybe for OG to be able to take this round, sort of, assuming that it keeps going this way. Just say, all right, we got middle.
And I think what hurts the most for Cloud9 is that they tried to do a bit more of a proactive approach last round, and they got instantly punished for it.
Yeah.
So now it is passive setups. Once again, middle is going to be free. I think it's maybe the third round that OG have gone in this direction, but the A site is their main focus. These smokes as well are going to prevent them from really capitalizing on the spacing, and they have this rotation down. There's even the potential for them to think about wrapping towards that B bomb site, but definitely the less considered one. S-Attack, distance fight, NBK and Issa both finding the kills they need to, and Woxic, while he's here on time, the flash, they doubling up towards spawn. They're in a position where they can fight for this, but now with Alex gone, Woxic is going to be really hard pressed to save, and Mantu's just going to deny it.
Wow. It's almost a perfect illustration of what the danger is of giving up mid. Because 3 men in connector get flashed through. There's Mantu throwing the flashbang over the whole wall, and they just push through the smoke. Once they're there, you can see how isolated S-Attack was in shadow. You even saw some shots ringing out from the AK, and they just, that box that's right there on the corner when you're playing, like the box towards the ramp, I don't know if people think often about this, but it's empty inside. There's just air inside. All it is like, 4 really thin wooden plates. You can shoot through that with a Glock and penetrate all of it. So even a pistol round, if you shoot through it, it does so much damage. It is, I don't know. If they change that to make it solid, I'm not saying they should, but if they did, that position immediately becomes completely different.
Well, just in general, you get spammed so often under Balk anyway, right? So I think it's a really troublesome position to be in for the setup that Cloud9 had. And I think it was Maui that was sort of pointing it out on the desk. He had a hypothetical about where Mezu would be positioned. We've seen him over being that B-side anchor, where
yes,
think that has kind of shifted roles up slightly.
It could be. I mean, he's been doing a great job, I think, over there. So, you know, you could have made an argument from Maui's case to say, well, maybe if he was middle, it was been a bit better, but you can't have him everywhere. So, so what are you meant to do here? Pistol's back in the hands of Cloud9 as well.
Yeah, not going to be able to get too much. I think, what was that, the old quote from Tarek? So somebody sort of leaked the idea that it's like, oh yeah, he wants his config set up on everybody's PC, so when he dies, you know, he could just go on over.
Just
5
play
Tareks.
the next guy.
Yeah.
Oh man. I wonder, is that allowed? I don't think any tournament has even thought about that.
Well, I mean, I don't think you're allowed another person to play under your alias.
Oh, so maybe that's that's already a rule?
Yeah.
What if they just all call themselves
What if they all call themselves Messi? It's like, oh yeah, so we signed him 5 times.
Then
yep, he's walking with the right click.
Yeah, it's all good.
You couldn't even potentially have somebody else impersonating him because his config is just so weird.
It's just, it has to be him. There was some discussion recently about who was it that was playing with inverted audio. Was that Amanek or something? I think someone said. Yeah. I never found out if that's actually true or not, but that sounds to me like a giant mess.
Heads on backwards.
I know, like, what's going on? I know some people play with inverted like mouse, which in itself feels like hell, but
yeah, I feel like I'm constantly in a flying simulator or something.
Exactly, like it's
pull up.
Listen, they need to do that on Cloud9. They are about to crash into the ground. I think there might be some lag or something going on, so I think they're going to try and reset the whole thing and get back into. Luckily, no one had taken any damage or anything, so kind of a good time, I guess, for that to happen without any real issue there. But yeah, 6-4 favoring OG is definitely, as a start on the T side of Mirage, pretty solid at the moment. Yeah,
and it's a half that could have been so much more successful when we contextualize how Cloud9 got their first few after the pistol.
Right.
Like, you had such great positions for OG. It's actually kind of a miracle that Cloud9 have got to this scoreline.
Yeah, so it's grim to think about when you put it like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sure that one of the things that, like, one of the luxury positions they'd love to be in is going into something like, potentially like a double AWP or something, like if they could really start to take that fight. But they just haven't had the money at all to even dream of something like that.
Yeah, and I know Bezzy's not shy of taking the AWP. I mean, you could put it in Alex's hands as well. I think there's a few sort of safe pairs if you're going for a secondary. We talked about the versatility for Cloud9, and just the idea of even having hard roles is a bit peculiar in some regards, just because it could just be anybody. I mean, I would trust Mezzy on an entry. I'd trust Floppy on one too, but
yeah, I mean, and that's.
Oh, Alexei's chowing down.
Oh no,
he's just having some food. I mean, a little break, some brain food.
I guess that's needed. What was he eating? I didn't even notice.
I don't know. I think it was off camera.
Okay. Oh yeah. Well, now is the time for it. I mean, right now it's looking like maybe a second map victory, maybe for them here, but it's already been stretching a while now with the double OT that was happening in the first map. Man, is there any immediate change? We talked about middle and how they're not really contesting that at the moment. Cloud9, is that the most obvious? I don't want to call it a fix because there's no guarantee that it'll actually work.
But I mean, we haven't really seen too much of the CT side. We've seen Mezzy get aggro into the apartments a couple of rounds,
which we really liked.
Yeah, and maybe the same idea has to kind of spur on, you know, that deep Astralis smoke towards top mid, or maybe setting up for a flash play. But I, at the same time, would anticipate that OG will be thinking about that, because middle has been a little bit of a problem area because they're just giving it up so often.
Yeah. Well, I'm already seeing Woxic diving straight down with an AWP, pushing all the way through, not seeing anyone. This is a cool play. Again, you know, you miss a shot down here and you're probably going to die, but you have to admire the fact that he's ready to try and take this fight on behalf of his team. They line up for a tag. That was meant to be a flashbang to take him out, but it doesn't really work out that way. Now Woxic just coming through. I love how bold he is with this play. Tag finding a third kill, and finally they bring him down, but they're not even going to know about Woxic. Well, now they do, but it is all too late. What a cool play from the middle, and Valda swinging right in and not getting anything done, unfortunately.
Yeah, Tag lining them up and then actually moving past the smoke like that. They had no idea. Really impressive stuff from him, and pushing a boundary that maybe some would back away from. You know, you've accomplished your goal. Try and escape while you can, because typically they'll double up for those trade frags.
Yeah, just kept going.
Yeah, and then Woxic just kind of emerges through a smoke, just like, oh, what's going on over here? How can I help?
That's so interesting. Alright, Alex this time, the one to jump down. He's got some backup with Woxic behind him. The bomb, though, is over at the ramp, and it looks like they're just going to, again, try and sort of walk through underpass. I'm assuming connect with this A squad, and then eventually go for it. But there's some steps in the way before they get there, though, especially this double setup at the ramp.
Yeah, Alex clears top mid, so that's the second time now we've seen coming out of that lengthy pause that Cloud9 have gone for this, but Alex gives up his position. They're very prepared for what OG have to offer here. 3 players committed towards this A site, actually forcing the issue. Alexi caught out, not able to spot the bomb, so may actually just indicate a bit of a lurk, and Issa and Valde begin their conquest. They begin their traversal of the connector, and they're not going to be prepared, Cloud9.
S-Attack goes down. Floppy with a very important kill. He's going to win that fight too. That is his 4th kill here, so he's been lacking a bit behind, but absolutely trying to make up for it now. Man 2 in a 1 versus 4, and he's going to get found by Alex. I don't know, because we weren't seeing it. I don't know how many. If Alex saw both of them coming out from that underpass, then that would make it so much more genius for them to flash their way onto the ramp at that point in time, because that is just a classic setup, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Like 2 middle, 3A ramp. So if you go for that, I mean, he was forced off there, but I don't know if he saw anyone or not. But either way, that would have made it really interesting. Like
a cause and effect, immediate response. Yeah,
because Alex is super. If Alex sees that, I'm sure he's going to think like, all right, well, they're coming underpass now. Like, just now is the time to check the ramp, and they already had 2 people there. So
yeah, it was the perfect timing for it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Intuition, if not called for.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look and find out which one was the dominant one there. Back to middle and back to the more sort of common setup, maybe, as Attack just taking a little bit of a spot there. They're going to try and hold it too hard. He takes a lot of damage from that.
Yeah, OG not throwing anything crazy at this position either this time. Again, like you said, back to sort of more a usual setup here for Cloud9. They've gone with that proactive approach. Now they let OG operate. S-Attack's on the other side of the smoke. They're waiting for it to come through, and at the flash, the smoke fades, and S-Attack, he lines up the spray transfer, but it's not going to be enough. The entry is found by Alexi B once again. We saw this on Nuke, and it's transferred over beautifully to the second map. Alex and Mezzi, do you even really commit to this? Alex is taking tags on the fights, and while the Molotov lands at the feet of Mantu, I think Alex is still trying for this. They've actually rotated in, but now Alex is gone. Mezzi trying to save the AWP. What a great round from Alexi.
Yeah, I mean, I was ready to call it when S-Attack got that double spray down. Just looked, the fact that they walked behind him and they weren't even looking. I don't even know if even the people getting killed were able to call that out. It's so hard to do when you're like, where am I even getting shot from at this point in time? And then Alexi just comes in. He's 13 and 5. I mean, one of the win conditions you were mentioning earlier, which I think is totally reasonable, that Cloud9 could have a better chance here, is that surely LXCB can't just keep playing well throughout. Double OT, like, you know, just all the rounds on Nuke and then some.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. He kept up the same pace pretty much throughout the entire game, and well, he comes out swinging again. What has this man been eating for breakfast? What's he having for his dinner? Because now I'm very interested. Like,
we're gonna need to know.
It's a dietary plan, the whole thing.
Just maybe that's why it's off camera as well.
Yeah,
like that's the
secret.
Real secret that we're not going to give away.
You have the trade-off of losing track of time, but you know we take that sometimes.
That's fine. Listen, if you can play like this, it's all right. Woxic, Alexi, you were just hyping him up, but he does get straight sniped through the smoke at top mid. And they're going to go and check and see no one else there. Now, they're going to execute while there are 3 people in middle, so that could be cool here for them. If they can get the bomb plant down, it might be worth, at least in terms of OG, putting some pressure back onto Cloud9, but S-Attack finding that one, and just a blind shot there. But it looks like they found the formula here for Cloud9 to pick up a 7th round, so that would tie it all up. And if they deny the bomb plant, there's still going to be somebody to work with, I think. That's a nice spray. But there's a flank coming in from Alex, and that should be the ace up the sleeve, shouldn't it?
Should be an absolute sitter of a kill, but Valde equalizing once again. There's that surprise factor. The unseen element. Alex springs in, but Valde brings it to the one-on-one. 37 HP, and Alex, he jumped down, and Valde heard every single step. OG get Valde in the best performance ever in the round. He gets the ace for OG.
That's so ridiculous. I can't even believe it. I don't understand. I mean, listen, the part where he smokes and sort of falls down for the smoke and hides it, that all looks like such a cool move, but Valda just knows everything. He just straight blew up Cloud9.
And it's something that we saw in Cloud9's last game. We had two 2v4s that they lost.
Yes.
Now we've got a third here at Flashpoint.
I mean, it's heartbreaking in a way, but what a time for Valda to come alive. 5 out of the 9 kills that he has was in that last round. So, oh dear, that was won by Cloud9 already. That was a round that was over, and Valda just says absolutely not. Floppy's going to be going down as attack next in line. 3 versus 4. 2 of them are on the bomb site here, but there's just so many people from OG on the other side. All right, Woxic. Can we do it again? He's certainly trying. Alex is helping out. He's just swinging all over the place to try and get this, even tagging up NBK. Man, Woxic is such a fun player to watch.
Yeah, these two players are now subject to a bit more lethality from the pistols, and you can see they're a bit concerned. Where is Alex gone? Where's Mezzy? Unsure.
At least they have some time, I guess. OG?
Yeah. We know they're not shy of bleeding a few seconds here or there.
Yeah, in their minds, they're thinking, man, it's hours until we do something. It's fine. But this position, how would you ever check this if you're coming in from the OG side? How would you ever do that? Yeah, they have to start running. Alex saying, thanks. Styling on them. What a way to end the half. That's beautiful. 8-7 in favor of OG. But Cloud9 hanging in there. It's not done yet. They still have a second half to play here. See if they could do something to bring us onto the third one. Would be on Inferno. That'd be very, very cool. It's going to be coming up, though, that second half first after the break. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Right, 8-7 at the end of the half here on the second map. OG with a slight lead going into the TT side, though. That should be setting them up pretty nicely. And LXCP continuing his reign of terror in this best of 3. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, not quite as crazy, but still having some really high impact rounds, I think, is what the main takeaway is.
Yeah.
And you said hanging in there when we were brought to the half for Cloud9. They are certainly just hanging in there. See if they can equalize, take the pistol round. Oh, that is sharp from Issa! Shutting the player out from the air, and Valde trying to get something more. But Cloud9, they've sort of recovered the situation. Woxic in with 2 kills. A flash on Esatag could buy them enough room, but okay, it's getting messy. Mantu's got a secondary kill, but Woxic's still alive and kicking. This would have to be another ace clutch to add to the tally for this series alone, and Woxic is making this possible. The chances are there, but NBK finally shuts it out. A pistol won by OG.
Wow, his movement was great though at the end. You see how he tries to limit his exposure from CT spawn by sort of hugging that wall and falling back behind. He did everything right that he had to. He just, had the Glock and couldn't land that headshot. But this is what a smackdown. Sit down, son. That was... He just absolutely ruined his day.
And that's one of those spots as well where you see that those first 2 kills, they're so clean, you just think he's going to keep going, find more.
But it's also, I mean, from Easter's point of view, it's one of those spots where if he misses like the first 2 shots, he's probably dead.
Oh yeah.
So it really feels like all or nothing when they're that far in. All right. Well, not the start that Cloud9 were looking for. Not even the bomb plant. So going for Deagles and an AK on Esatag. Interesting.
The more curious thing for Cloud9 is going to be how this T side operates. We saw how they maybe didn't meet expectations or predictions coming into the CT side. But these roles were very clearly defined. How they wanted to approach these acquisitions. They fulfill a purpose. And so how much we'll get to see of that may, of course, still remain to be seen. Alex lurking out towards A, though.
Alright, a little bit of damage, but yeah, he got caught there. Would have been, again, I mean, we saw a little bit from LXCP in that window when they were on the T side, how much it matters when you get the right timing and just sort of sneak in. So hard to blame Alex for trying. Flash through as a tag, not seeing anyone, but there is that MP9. It's going to take down Valde. That's a really strong kill, and it opens up a lot towards this bomb site. Bomb is up in the A apartments, and now it's getting a little bit weird. Yeah, they're getting sidetracked, I think, in the middle of this. Would have been amazing if they could have sandwiched Issa in there, which is what looked like it was going to happen, but suddenly they lose the mid-fight, and now I'm not so sure anymore. 20 seconds here.
Oh.
Yeah, Woxic could maybe find the kill. That's going to be good, but the problem is still Issa on the bomb site. And Messi has to make no mistakes, otherwise the round is over. It's a cool attempt, and again, it looked like they almost had it. Not going to be any chance now, so a 10th round for OG.
Well, I guess they could try. Yeah, I guess they could try it again. They get the AK once more.
Oh.
I just feel like you might be digging yourself into a hole if you commit around this, but
yeah.
Okay, I think more conservative approach. They'll just get the armor. Doing it on Alex as well, so the fact that he has less money, I think, has fewer implications. You don't want to hinder players like Esatag or Woxic.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. So he's going to just get that armor in there. No head armor, so I mean a bunch of these guns are going to be hard for him to deal with if it goes a bit south. Look at the push to top mid. Woxic not really connecting, but he did spot a couple of people there. And OG, yeah, good round for them to be a bit forceful and just make sure that Cloud9 don't feel comfortable anywhere. They got 4 flashbangs and a smoke, so yeah. I mean, it's almost like they're pushed in towards the B bomb site right now.
Yeah. I wonder if the reason Woxic was the one holding with the Deeg as well is so they can farm up some cash.
Right.
That'd be part of the idea. OG are in a great position to try and deal with this. Alexi can be first contact, and Valde can swing from the low ground. So Alexi taking the fight, Valde swinging for it, but not getting anything done. The P250 of Mezzi does find the kill. The weapon could be recovered. It is a fair distance away, but Alexi does make an exit. So still alive and kicking. Cloud9 are weakened. Like you said earlier, they do feel slightly boxed in towards this B site, and NBK is going to try and take advantage of some space.
Yeah, just spotting it out. Smoke up in front. I mean, again, they could try and pop flash this, you know, close to NBK, but that'll also immediately signal what's coming, and with low time, so you've got some rough choices. The bomb is over here. Are they going to just try and fake this? If they get MBK and everyone rotates, we're in for a wild ride here. He's going to stand tall. So whatever the plan was, it's going to get tricky. One shot there, but Alex is already low on health. And around the corner, Isa, yeah, that's a fight. He wins every single time. I still think this is actually a very, very cool approach. They just needed NBK.
Yeah, getting that kill is so crucial because it leaves OG in a position where they don't have much information towards B. But it's just another position where, yeah, you don't die at the end of the round. I actually thought that Alex was going to sort of reposition, give the AK over to S-Attack because he was low. Like, yeah. I understand Alex had armor, but when you're 27 HP, that armor's not going to really matter.
Right, yeah. No, it doesn't help you that much. Oh, that is...
I just... Why not... Yeah, he couldn't take a fight. Like, he didn't have a fight to take at the end, but this is really bad. They've had now 2 rounds in the last 3 where somebody is saved and as a result has no money. So S-Attack's just on a deagle. He's been super neutered.
Yeah, you're definitely right. OG have really almost no money to work with. Look at this aggression. Alexi B must have had a heart attack then. That's a very similar play to the one that he was making. Valda catching them as they come back though. So that does make up for it a bit at least. Mezzi wants to go for the fight and Valda's so confident. And now they have to go straight out of the B out hallways here. NBK will take one quickly and backup is being called for. 3 versus 2, and it will be... Oh, no, maybe not. I was going to say a quick bomb plant here, but Valder actually just continuing. He can't be stopped.
Well, the only man who didn't have a gun coming into this round. Only the Deeg, no armor, no utility at all. Pushed into this 1v3. And Valde's taking that high ground. They're waiting for him to activate, be that first point of contact for OG as he is low, and that should give up the angle. Oh dear. S-Attack just turning away as Valde peaks, and OG, they sweep up another. 12 rounds on now with the CT side, and they've come out swinging fantastically. 5 in a row. Or 4 in a row, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good start for them, isn't it, at this point in time here? They've really, I mean, as you said it earlier, 2 of those rounds just running out of time. And then, I mean, one of them was quite deliberate where they saved the AK, but it's still a bit of an issue going into the 20th round. And now a bit of money being built on OG. It's not a lot. I think that's the only silver lining right now for Cloud9 is the fact that the CT side hasn't just, you know, in the 4 rounds, they haven't just built a giant economy, right?
Yeah. Oh. Okay. Really meaty nade. Chunky stuff.
Yeah, he really wanted to go through there. Changed his mind quickly.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy that we're seeing Alex take up these more entry pathways as well. He's been very aggressive in some of these positions. Oh, and Mantu, he pushed towards the underpass. Floppy not quite prepared. S-Attack, well, he'll be able to contain him. The smoke does give the chance to escape. And peeking into the AWP will be very dangerous. They have Mantu completely cut off, but they still haven't flushed him out. They lose S-Attack while Alex is busy doing that. And Cloud9, once again, may just feel like they have no control elsewhere. Alex trying to entry and find a pathway towards this B site, but there's a player right underneath, and NBK wins a crucial duel.
He was just listening to that the whole time, NBK. You could just see him
rubbing his hands.
Yeah, he was so ready for it. Walks it going to be found as well. Mezzi, 1 versus 3 here. And OG, I mean, this is such a critical round in terms of, again, building the economy and keeping Cloud9 away from anything sustainable. Right now, the round loss one is going to be there, but without a bomb plant, it still just actually won't be quite enough. So, if he could somehow get a bit of a thing, the bomb is down in the underpass, so it'll take forever to get there. It'll never happen. Wow.
Disastrous of a performance thus far. Not getting the sort of return on investment that they were hoping for, and the fact that, I mean, we touched on it a couple of times already, but they haven't had the most stable buying pattern thus far on this T side, has only made things that much worse. They even had that opportunity, that same one that we kept talking about with Alexi towards the window, where Alex had found the entry, and then they just aren't able to capitalize off that space. We had Valde stepping up massively, and I think Valde has been a critical part so far for OG. He has shut down some of these progressions that Cloud9 are trying to bring to the table on this T side. And of course the ace. That certainly helps.
The ace really picked him up, didn't it? He was
Yeah.
feeling good after that. He's such an incredibly versatile player that I think he'll just always be a resource on almost any team. So Iza goes down. That's not a bad start here. Floppy picking up the kill. And Alexi will take at least one for the smoke. Valda this time the victim of something similar. Bomb. Oh no, it's gonna get denied. Last possible second has to have been. That's an issue.
Oh, Mantu does have the idea that someone's pushed spawn, and Alexi in the meanwhile has found a kill himself. So Mezzi, trapped behind the boxes. Does have the bomb on his back, and with the flash, might be able to get it down, but no. Mantu recovers in time. Still yet to register around on this T side, and OG are within touching distance of 2-0ing the series.
I think at this point, the next Photoshop has to be similar, just in a bathtub, just filled. Doesn't get worse, does it? I say that obviously laughing. I did also pick Cloud9. It's just that for me,
Yeah, you know, you have less risk associated.
slightly less.
Yeah. You've had a taste of the bottom though. Like I think I was along there with you, so
A bunch of us have been down there.
we've made the comeback.
Yeah, randomly. It's amazing how that works, isn't it?
And we'll have to see if Cloud9 make a similar comeback. Pressed up against the wall where they haven't had a win here in Flashpoint yet. Not even a map, and they potentially may not get this one either, as OG are in the prime position to do so. Not checking top mid. Okay, interesting decision. But Alexi there to quickly trade. It's the double up for OG.
Oh, Woxic. I mean, this is so dangerous. That smoke behind him is all that he has for backup at the moment. Alexi, I think they must have seen the gun barrel, but he will fall back, so a minute on the clock as Floppy will take down Iza. Leaving just alone on the bomb site. Mantu with an AWP and a CC. I mean, he's actually going to go for the CC. Oh, this can work. Floppy's right there. Oh, but he engages Woxic first. I thought maybe he could have swung for it. This could be a real chance here for Cloud9 to finally pick up a round on the T side.
Yeah, Woxic finding another with the AWP, and NBK behind a Molotov. A 1-on-4. We've seen some crazy individual performances. There have been so many rounds here for OG. But like you that would be the only thing that could make this that much worse.
I know, just everyone crush your fingers or something, whatever it is, just to try and will it into existence. All they need is for S-Attack to run out a connector, and then the rest just say, alright, go look for him. Don't let him have the AK or whatever it is. They're playing it really disciplined, so credit to Cloud9 for doing that. But this is the sort of situation where you could sort of lose your mind a bit, right? Because you're suddenly really far behind, and everyone's probably feeling slightly defeated at the moment.
Mm-hmm. All that pressure that's mounted.
Right. Woxic is still, I mean, in spite of how dreadful this map has been for Cloud9 so far, Woxic is collecting 20 kills. That's actually really great. He's tied with Alexi B. I don't even know how that's really possible.
Yeah, Alexi I think has slowed down the second half in spite of them winning so many rounds, but Woxic has been contributing pretty heavily.
Although, if you compare the rest, right, Alexi at 20, then you've got the rest at 15 or 14 on OG, whereas right now, Floppy and Mezzi are definitely having a bit of a rough time on Cloud9, so...
And these are the two players that have probably the most to prove on this roster. They haven't had the proper taste of Tier 1.
Yeah.
The whole previous Cloud9 roster seemed to be very specialized in specific maps, and you had some good performances on players like Floppy and say OC in that regard. And
that is true.
The fact that they are, I'll say, the least paid, I suppose, as well, leads into that expectation of, well, how well will you really do? And I think the when you even suggested the Ninja Defuse, I had to sort of scoff, like, you wouldn't do that to my boy Mezzi.
Don't do it.
But this is a critical moment where you need to see that sort of culminate on this Cloud9 side. We had Woxic getting a couple of critical kills in the past round just to make it even feasible.
Yeah, those really were important. I mean, I don't know, like, I'm willing to give Messi maybe a little bit more rope again because he was playing that B bomb side. And he was doing really well as long as they kept sort of coming there. He was doing fine, but once that was gone, well, Valde is right there. He's gonna be checked. Woxic continuing. Easier though, good headshots. Had a chance for a third as well. Should be fine though. 3 versus 2 with the weapons and everything else. I think they're going to be alright. So looking like a 9th round at the moment here for Cloud9, but a moment of real terror there at the middle if they hadn't checked.
Yeah, and are OG letting off the gas a little bit? Are they talking?
You gotta hope so, right?
I mean, his teammate's stuck behind the boxes. He has zero thought, zero fear that the connector could be open. You look at the minimap, right? If you're him, you see his teammates look in that direction, but his head's down and just looking at nothing.
Just, I mean, maybe it's worth the sacrifice, right? If it works out.
Yeah, you've got a rifle. You're the sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, that's maybe the part that doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
Man2, yeah, just escaping over on this side. 14-9. Such a long road back. They need to win the next 7 rounds in a row, unless they want to end up in some sort of overtime scenario again, which fair play, if they go there.
And we saw a bit of a comeback from OG as well on Nuke. Cloud9 were in a position where they could have taken it over the line, but instead we ended up with that double overtime.
Yeah, that was wild.
This feels like a harder sell because it was so back and forth at the start, right?
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. You're right. The second half of Nuke was just all
it was all over the place.
Yeah, I'm tempted to agree. Again, I mean, the big really cool thing that's happening for Cloud9 is obviously that OG's economy is so broke, and it's now starting to pick it up. I mean, next round will be really good for them, but so they've had a couple of more or less free runs here where they could sort of build something. But at 14-10, I mean, could be done. This is where you'd be interested. Remember that crazy play from Alex on Newt where he snuck in through hell and just walked up behind? Wonder if they got anything. I mean, maybe not of a similar caliber, but there are some fun tricks you can do on I think just on all maps where you say, okay, it's not going to be a sustainable strategy to do it, you know, consistently throughout, 15 rounds in a row on the T side or whatever. But maybe you have. They did it once here where they, again they did a quick boost into middle and just went for the play. Have you got like because after this they still need another 6 rounds, but all those 6 rounds are obviously not going to be buy rounds for OG. So you just need some of those tricks. Like 2 or 3 would do it right now. You do them in the round where they have the rifles, and then that's your ticket home, right? So be interested to see if they have anything cool like that, or if they are just going to rely on their sort of base play here and hope that they can win it back that way.
Yeah, I wonder as well. In that same vein, right? The amount of preparation time. I know that they don't want to use that as an excuse, but do you have time to then prepare for these set plays or these niche rounds that, I mean, 7 maps in the pool?
Both of them have almost always, it's been Alex saying, I'll do it. Like, I'll walk around you, right? So maybe he just needs someone to say, okay, well, just throw this smoke and boost me here or do something. And then
do my role because they all should be on the same page in that regard. Yeah,
exactly. So we'll see. Alright, showing up in middle is Alexibi for the minute, but he's just going to be jumping right in and taking the slightly longer way around, which is fair enough. And a pretty default spread, except for Woxic, who's a little bit further forward. No one jumping to try and look, though.
Still waiting it out, the smoke. Going to deny the chance. That may be NBK's prompt to get up onto the apartments. Get a little bit closer to the action.
No aggression from OG, like we were talking about Mezzi pushing and stuff like that. They've been real quiet in this round, at least. They're quite far back from the middle as well.
Yeah, bleeding out a lot more time in that regard. Not expending really much utility on either side. Nobody looking for that information early on. Late boost here from OG, though. Cloud9 are postured outside of the connector. Oh, the timing on this is perfect. Alexi able to capitalize on the fact. And although Mezzi was actually somewhat prepared, still a 1-for-0. OG figuring out what the idea may be here for Cloud9, but they actually haven't started to move resources over towards that A site. And Cloud9 are actually doubling back again.
Oh, I'm very much doubting if this is going to be working out. I don't know about this, Michael. It's 25 seconds. They're starting to get back there.
Oh,
Man2 gets the kill on Alex, and now the 3 of them are just running through the hallway here to try and see if they can get it. 1 kill for MBK is actually plenty enough, I think, for this to work out, and they'll be cleaned up. Alexi with 2 good kills. He's up at 22 overall, and it is series point now for OG. Cloud9 need the next 5 in a row. Has to be flawless. Has to be no mistakes of any kind.
Just highlighting something in that last round. Mantu getting that kill from so far away when Alex is in that position.
Yeah.
Valdez performing the fast flank. Does he actually hear the steps in time before he dies? Because, I mean, it didn't really matter, but even still, that comes down to some niche timings where Cloud9 seem to have a plan, it just doesn't work out. Fantastic opening from Esatag, but will it be enough to keep them in this game? They'll start a man up, a 5-on-4. These are typically where most teams convert their rounds after the fact.
I love that play when you get that spawn, and what I also love doing with it, if you can't even afford the orb, is just buy the deagle and run up the ramp, because sometimes you can meet. Yeah. Alex tried to do it when he got grenaded with an AK, right? But
and then he was immediately just, yeah, I'm out of here.
But there is something fun about that timing because you can really catch people off guard in the right moment there. 4-on-5 here, and they are pulling back from the A-bomb side maybe a little bit, sort of saying, you know what, let's chance it. This would be a very annoying way to win the map, wouldn't it? If you just sort of stack the B-bomb side and they come.
Well, that may be exactly what happens. Mantu peeking in with the AWP. Esatag gone. Equal in the affair right now. And OG, again, they have the additional resources here. Mantu finding one more but traded out. And NBK committed to a close position. It's Issa instead. NBK not yet activated. And time is beginning to be a little bit of a problem here for Cloud9. A 2-on-3 with Woxic and Mezzi. And they found a pathway in. Woxic making that rotation towards that A site. He holds the line, but Alexi's cheated pass. Does Woxic know that that's a possibility? The answer, no. Mezzi, a 1-on-3. This would have to be phenomenal from him to step up in the moment to keep Cloud9 in it. And I don't know that he has the chance. 15 seconds. Get to the site because Issa is on his path. And, well, this might just be it. Issa is too close. Alexi chasing him down. And OG take the second map 16-10.
Oh man, it looked like maybe they had a bit of a window there, but in the end, it could only have been fitting that it was Lexi to pick up the last kill. I think it was 24 or something overall. Really, I mean, what a best of 3. It's 2 maps, and he just drops so many kills for his team. So no chance there for Cloud9. I mean, it's so rough, isn't it? No maps being won, but double overtime on Nuke. This
16-14 in the first series in their opening group as well.
And this one actually, I mean, once they got a little bit alive into it here, it actually looked like they were ready to make their way back. So, I don't know. I don't think it's completely desperate and hopeless here if you look at how they've been playing. So yeah, I'm still going to be quite excited to see them play in the future. And sort of see everyone really, find their roles within the team and figure out what to do.
Yeah, I think the good signs are definitely that they seem to work well in these chaotic situations. You can just work off of the experience of the players in that regard. Like we saw how awkward their CT side start was, and they still found some rounds off the back of it. But even still, you can tell that there is some deeper stuff that needs to be worked on. The fact that they're getting flanked, the fact that they're finding flanks. There's a bit of push and pull. It's like they're sort of creating a character in a sports game where you have only so many points committed to so many different things.
That's
like
true.
They're like their attack and defense, but like, oh no, I'm suddenly weak in one area. So there's room to grow. I think it's fair to say, but it's going to be broken down for us by by everybody, our analysts over at the Blind Spot.
Very much indeed, Yumi. Yes, we're here at the Blind Spot, perhaps to drown our sorrows for the guys from Cloud9. Unfortunately, unable to get a single map here at Flashpoint 2.
Yeah, you know what, Freya? I didn't think this would be, before we started the tournament, but really Flashpoint is a lot like the first Deadpool movie because Colossus is just useless in both. It's a good one, right? You got me. I'll give it to you.
Colossus, it's just a big hulking machine. It has to get ready, It has to really get into motion. So that's okay.
And here we go. Some more memes already. As you were saying, Monty, VP making the most out of this group, wasn't it? Because they moved, They moved Gen.G over to their group, right?
Yeah. So what happened was the last swap of our group selection was Virtus.pro swapping Gen.G to face OG in the first round, which then killed OG into the losers bracket, therefore making Virtus.pro path to the winners bracket in our playoffs much easier. So I think that they probably thought that Gen.G was very weak, but since they weren't the ones playing them in the first round, it didn't fucking matter in the end.
Just a hired killer. Exist. We need you.
We've trained you for this purpose. Now go. So pretty funny stuff.
Well, I think it is quite good that we saw OG sort of making a bit of redemption for themselves, of course, after that first matchup where they didn't manage to get a single map against Gen.G. So coming into this one, a lot better looking from OG, particularly on this final map and in that final half as well.
Meanwhile, Cloud9 ends up in definitively 12th place in Flashpoint. So, Henry said that they were going to win Flashpoint, and instead they go out in absolute last place, which, but you should make fun of him. But before you make fun of him too hard, it is important to know that this was a very difficult group, right?
Oh, yeah.
This was the group of death. Let's not forget that OG, Virtus.pro, both top 15 teams in the world, and Gen.G, they just came into this with a surprisingly good amount of prep. You can see it in their game plans that they actually have a really solid map pool right now.
Look, all I'm going to say is that Gen.G and Cloud9 had exactly the same amount of boot camp in Serbia, and one of them is no longer in this tournament.
Oh.
Yes. Well, actually, didn't Cloud9 have even longer, though? Looking at, considering that the stand-ins for Gen.G only came in, 4 days before the competition, right? Cloud9 have been there. Actually, no, but they did go home.
Yeah, they went home.
I guess
they're not in Serbia right now, so I'm not sure exactly. It was about, 5, 6, 7 days for each.
Yeah.
So not a lot of difference.
No,
for sure.
not a lot of difference in that. Alexi B, man, again, looking really, really dominant in this one.
I want to bring up Mezzi really quickly at the bottom of the scoreboard, not to flame him, but because I actually talked to Adam9130, great username by the way, his old IGL for Gamer Legion, and he told me that this is kind of typical of Mezzi getting onto a new team. It takes him a couple months to get warm, to get settled on the roster, but then once he